Kodiak Hub presents the world's best procurement podcast. Procurement says no!
Welcome to Procurement Says No, episode 45!
Wow.
Sponsored by the power of Kodiak Hub, turning supplier chaos to supplier greatness. Hello, Eduardo.
Hello, Rich. And our podcast is still cheap as crisps.
It is, and we haven't said that for a very long time.
I know we haven't. I know. I found the bit of paper with the name, all our little buzzwords on it. It had fallen off. I stuck it with blue tack to the wall many moons ago, and it's fallen on the floor.
Hence why we've never said any of them.
Yes, indeed.
And it's World Cup fever, Ed, sort of.
Woo!
And we have a lot of stuff on that later.
Yes.
So there you go. We are on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, all the other way around. And we're now back on YouTube, and we're on TikTok, which we said we'd never do. And you can buy a t-shirt from us, from lovely Ed. And we have a website, and we have a blog. And if you like us, please like us on wherever you get your social medias. And remember, we're also Guns for Hire, £200 and 50p for an hour of expert advice and opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Yes. So today we have news. We have the welcome return of Ask Rich and Ed, possibly. And we have the welcome return of the secret buyer.
Ooh, that's been a long while.
Yes, which we've only done once before.
The welcome return of something we only did once.
But firstly, it's in the news, brought to you by Sips. Over to Ben.
Hello, I'm Ben Farrell from Sips, and here's the news.
Right, any news, Ed?
Yeah. So I had a few moments the other morning, and so I thought I would ask Google what it thought of Procurement Says No. And guess what it said?
What did it say? What did it say? What did it say? What did it say? What did
It said, the podcast Procurement Says No is widely considered one of the best and most entertaining shows for supply chain and purchasing professionals.
Whoop.
And then it said, key highlights. Listen to this, Rich. It says key highlights are irreverent and realistic tone, real world experience, wide range of topics, and listener community, highly interactive with lots of special guests.
Woohoo!
I can't believe it. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Google is my friend.
yes.
It's lovely.
That's fabulous. I've got some news about some procurement tech takeovers, Ed.
Ooh.
This is from Procurement Beyond Boundaries, which was on Linked Up and a few other places as well. Our friends at Coupa, your mate at Coupa, has acquired Rossum Document Processing and Tonkian for a bit of orchestration. We had Michael Pearson on from Tonkian in Vegas, baby. So these latest purchases follow on from Coupa's acquisitions of Certio for category management in May 2025 and ScoutBee for supplier discovery in October 2025. So Coupa now has all of the functionality in its source to pay cycle. Super duper exciting. The problem is, I've read, is that Coupa and Rossum run on different inference loops. One trained in community data, spend data, and one on transactional documents. So which model governs when their outputs conflict on the same invoice? Who knows? I don't understand this stuff.
And let's just add to that, Rich, because I think that orchestration software-wise, Tonkian are the creators of a lot of the software that sits behind the products that other people sit on without naming any names. And the second thing is, it's so ironic, isn't it, that Coupa, 15, 20 years ago, when I met them in San Francisco when they were a startup, and they were like pushing the boundaries of the market. They were starting to worry SAP and co. They were the fledgling, the driver of a new way of looking at the market. And now they're not. They're just like SAP, and they're just buying people to aggregate into their solution, and then they're probably not even aggregating it in there.
They've run out of innovations, so they're just buying the market up. Now, SAP spent 8 years trying to sort out integration of Ariba, which I don't think they've still done properly. Coupa has the same problem, by the sounds of it, in front of it. Coupa hasn't yet integrated Certio or Scout B, and it hasn't even implemented the full integration of its risk module from its purchase of, is it Hyperos or Hyperos, which was back in 2018. So it hasn't actually integrated any of them.
So let's think about SAP. So what SAP did, they've recoded, is my understanding, in very generalized terms. So they've been able to amalgamate all those different solutions and the thinking behind them through replatforming.
Right.
But that's really expensive to do.
Yeah.
The other irony with this is that you get a lot of pressure from the board to buy companies.
Yeah.
It's, oh no, we need to be seen to be acquiring companies to help with our stock market value.
So best of luck to Coupa, and best of luck to all the people at Tonkian and all those other places. Let's hope you've still got a job, because if Coupa don't get you, AI will.
Yeah, I hope you're not rationalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
The other one, I found this quite funny, right, in the news. This is from Berrow. Berrow are a market intelligence organization. They've just done some marketing or launched it's called the Procurement Beige book.
Ooh, Beige.
So anything that's beige is seen as really dull and boring in marketing speak, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just launched their Q1, Q2 Procurement Beige book that provides a snapshot of sourcing conditions across 400 categories. Really? Could you not think of a better name for it? The Procurement Beige book.
Could it not be neon orange or something like that?
No.
Magnolia.
My advice to Berrow, sack your marketing team. That's rubbish.
The beige pamphlet of procurement. This is from The Register, from Lindsay Clark. A new court filing has revealed that the UK's Department of Work and Pensions accepted a bid from Capita to run its new Oracle-based HR and finance system at £272 million less than its own cost modelling. In March, Capita won the contract for running shared services for $370 million over 10 years. And the central government department had earlier produced a should cost model designed to protect against bias towards low bids, which provided a total price of $642 million, according to court papers. Capita's bid was 42% less than the should cost estimate. And since January, the deal has been subject to a legal claim from rival bidder Sopra Sterio, which alleges Capita bid was abnormally low and based on staffing significantly below current levels. Sopra Sterio has been running the back office shared services for a number of government departments in the UK, based on the Oracle Business e-business suite since 2013. In its defence against the claim, DWP alleged that Sopra Sterio was in breach of an ethical wall agreement by basing its case on a document that it was sent by the department in error.
You can't make this stuff up, could you?
In its defence also, the DWP alleged that Sopra Sterio's bid was excessively high. So there you go. So government told off for spending too little on an IT contract. Brilliant. Love it.
Rubbish, isn't it? Rubbish. So just on that theme, just in public sector news, the NHS has a carbon reduction, CRP, requirement. So there's a new NHS framework agreement which must apply by 2027 to ensure suppliers meet net zero targets.
Oh, God.
Glad they're focusing on that and not focusing on actually curing patients, waiting lists, and treating people.
There are bits of it that are okay, but generally the NHS is a global leader in 1958.
And they have a special framework on carbon reduction.
Yes.
Perhaps focus on the patient.
Yes.
Please.
This is from the Art of Procurement, our friends at Zip.
Zippity-doo-dah.
We've mentioned them already today, have launched AI super agents and procurement-specific model context protocol tools, targeting the problem of employees pasting contract clauses and supplier pricing and spend data into personal chat, GPT, and Claude accounts. Zip is positioning its platform as the governed channel for AI interactions with procurement data, rather than waiting for shadow AI to become a compliance incident. Copying and pasting now means that your data lives on a third-party server outside your retention policies, outside your security perimeter, and potentially inside someone else's business. Oh, my lordy.
Yes.
And it's a ruddy nightmare. So AI governance is entering the feature set at Zip, which means that competitive evaluation criteria for these platforms is shifting. Teams selecting or renewing orchestration tools, which we all do all the time, don't we? Are you renewing your orchestration tool, Ed?
I do that every evening.
You should ask, how does this platform handle LLM interactions with procurement data? What guardrails exist for AI-generated outputs that touch contracts or supplier information? Is MCP or a similar protocol on the roadmap? And if your current provider doesn't know the answers, like we don't, then you need to be buying Zip and setting fire to the sky. If anybody knows what any of that means, please write in.
I think you're right. I lost the will to live listening to that monologue. Meanwhile, the NHS has implemented a value-based procurement guidance paper.
In more NHS news.
Yes, what's that then? That's really, I've got no idea what that is. Value-based procurement for medical technology guidance. And what else is happening? The UK defence industry inquiry has been kicked off, launching an inquiry into the relationship between the government and the defence industry. And then the EU defence procurement deal, the Council and Parliament negotiators struck a provisional agreement to ease administrative burdens in security procurement, facilitate transfers of defence-related products, and allow for joint procurement across member states. That's quite interesting. But they're harmonising the sharing of technology for defence-related applications, sharing activity relating to defence needs, which sounds like they're responding to imminent war.
What's it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Right. And also on government and war, the UK government has its brilliant new plan on jet fuel, which they're deciding that we will start importing diesel and jet fuel derived from Russian crude oil, provided that it's refined in third countries such as India or Turkey.
Excellent. That's all right then.
And this is at the same time as EU leaders are meeting together to offer support to Ukraine. Duh.
Oh.
The EU are still buying lots of Russian gas. They're approximately 12% of the total EU gas imports comes from Russia. But listen to this. There are some rules behind it. So classic EU, LNG imports will be phased out by the 31st of December 2026 and pipeline gas by the 30th of September 2027.
So the excellent thing, so that will be the first one. The end of 26 is nearly 5 years since Russia declared war against Ukraine.
That's not bad.
And then the other one will be 6 years.
But wait for this. Member states may extend this deadline until the 31st of October 2027 in case their storage levels are below their required filling levels. In particular, and then it goes into classic, this is just classic EU.
Oh, God, just forget it.
For short-term contracts concluded before the 17th of June 2025, the prohibition of gas
imports from Russia will apply from the 25th of April 2026 for LNG and the 17th of June 2026 for pipeline gas. For long-term contracts for LNG concluded before the 17th of June 2025, the prohibition will apply from the 1st of January 2027 in line with the 19th sanctions package. Pipeline gas imports under long-term contracts will be allowed until the 30th of September 2027. In the event that member states face difficulty to fill required storage levels, the import ban for pipelines will only apply as of the 1st of November 2027, and amendments to existing contracts will be permitted only for narrowly defined operational purposes.
I think you said enough. Stop.
It just goes on and on and on. They've created all these rules. Oh, God.
It's classic prevarication and procrastination, isn't it? What an absolute joke.
Just stop buying Russian bloody oil.
Yeah. But the legislation around the aviation fuel enacted by the British government was sort of, I think, in the autumn of 25. So until that point, we were buying aviation fuel from Russia indirectly via India and other places. We put a veto on that for a few months and then we resurrected it. It's just an utter joke.
It's mental.
Yeah, so meanwhile, in the middle of June, the Defence Secretary in the UK has resigned because the government are failing on their commitment to invest more money or sufficient money in defence procurement for the armed forces.
That's because they're spending too much money on Russian oil.
It's just like ridiculous. Anyway, by the time you hear this, perhaps the British Prime Minister might not be in his job anymore, but then God knows what it'll be replaced with.
He's been hanging on quite well, hasn't he?
He has been hanging on, but...
Anyway, we don't do politics on this podcast.
We don't do politics. No. Anyway, it's all very bizarre, the world of politics and international trade.
Any more news?
Yeah, I've got a bit. So, and I find this a bit ironic, really. US inflation has gone up to 4%, which is mainly driven by oil price rises because of the American and Israeli activities and wars in the Middle East and the blocking of the Straits of Hormuz. So inflation is up. But at the same time, the US economy is growing like billy-o, and it's putting on jobs. So it's just inflation that's an issue. Public debt is massive, but nonetheless, growth is great. Whereas in the UK and European nations, where we're sort of perhaps doing more to try and stimulate the economy and seeing less inflation, we're still all in the doldrums. It's quite interesting, isn't it, from an economic perspective? And then on top of that, because Donald was stopped from implementing all of his tariffs because it was seen as what wasn't supported by the legislature, and the court rejected his tariffs, now he's found a new way to put the tariffs on relating to slave labour in about 60 countries around the world. So he's put the tariffs up marginally, I think, from 10% to 12% or whatever, but he's enacting a load of tariffs on the basis of, slavery. It's all a bit bizarre, isn't it? And how does economics really work? Why would the US economy be growing so well, Europe economy is not, and yet some of the things that the US are involved in and doing are counter to the sort of economic argument is.
You know what the big mistake is? Thinking of economics as being some kind of scientific endeavor.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because it ain't. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, really strange. Yeah, should we talk about the World Cup?
Oh, yes, we should talk about the World Cup.
So what about the World Cup then?
The World Cup, yes, it's been great so far. I mean, the games that I've watched have been fabulous, and we're now into the last couple of things going on.
I would question, sir, is it the most ironic World Cup so far?
I think it might be, yes, given that the players, the referees, and the supporters aren't allowed into the country.
No. So we did have the Sudanese ref who wasn't allowed into the US, was interviewed for 11 hours. He's he's the best referee in Africa. They rejected him because he had the same name as somebody else that was on their do not let in list, apparently.
Oh.
And Infantino, the head of FIFA, just shrugged his shoulders. Well, this shit happens, doesn't it? Yeah. So is it like an ironic World Cup? More nations, 48 countries are playing at the World Cup. That's bigger than it used to be, 32, I think, and it's gone up to 48. You've got places like Curacao, which has a population the size of Cheltenham in the UK, which is probably like 100,000 people, 50,000 people at the World Cup.
But they do download Procurement Says No there. We know that from last time.
Cape Verde are there. That's a tiny little island in the Atlantic Ocean off Africa. They're there. All sorts of Haiti. But the irony is,
big football nation,
they probably can't bring their supporters in because they won't be allowed in because of visas. So it's the 2026 ironic World Cup for me.
And that's football. Or is it soccer? Or is it football? And here's some very exciting World Cup facts. Did you know there's over 500,000 kilograms of broadcast and team equipment, 5,000 vehicles, and 1 million square feet of warehousing? And there's a FIFA Sustainability Sourcing Code to enforce anti-corruption and human rights policies, which is great for FIFA. And there's local sourcing as one of their key criteria for supplier assessment. Got to be local. And Adidas have manufactured more than 3,000 match balls. And factories are expected to produce more than 5.5 million promotional and replica balls. And there's somewhere between 100 and 150 professional grade goal nets. And it's expected that 4 million bottles of water and soft drinks will be consumed very expensively. And don't bring your own in. And 1.5 million hamburgers have been prepared so far.
Interesting. But in the first game, 3 players got sent off. And in the last World Cup, only 4 players got sent off in the whole tournament.
So, hope you've been enjoying the coverage so far. Any more news, Ed?
Some big news, Rich. Some really big news. We are venturing in to the arena of procurement companion bots.
Ooh.
So,
Rich Bot and Ed Bot.
Coming to shores near you soon, which will be a companion app providing procurement advice. So what we've done, listeners, we've been approached by a company in the North America, and they suggested that they could help us make a super app, a bot that would take all of what we've talked about, all the nonsense and all the good stuff, and provide you with an assistant that you'll be able to ask questions of. And if you recall, this is the area that we think is the big growth area for procurement AI adoption, companion apps that help you and guide you and respond to questions that you ask. So we're in the process and we'll shortly launch Procurement Says No companion app. How exciting is that?
Ooh. Yes, you can ask it anything you like, and it will trawl our massive data banks of procurement goodness and give you answers. Anything that's been asked on Ask Rich and Ed, anything that's been waffled on about in any of the episodes that we've recorded over the last 3 years. It's going to be wonderful, isn't it?
It's quite exciting, really, isn't it?
It is. We are at the forefront of AI thingy bob.
Of tech. See, everybody thought, Rich, that we were really negative about technology.
Yes, but it was all just a front for our secret endeavours.
Not at the leading edge, but at the bleeding edge of procurement technology. That's going to be us.
I've just cut your thumb.
Oh, bleeding edge.
Paper cut.
No paper cuts with our companion app. It will love you and stay with you.
Love you long time.
It will never leave you. Permanently on your computer, embedded in your hard drive.
Excellent. I shall look forward to that. It seems to have taken over my computer. It's setting fire to the sky. And that's the news.
Super duper.
Boom. Now it's time to welcome back our occasional feature, The Secret Buyer. So, this will remain anonymous. Let's just say, not her real name. This is Nicola from Edinburgh, who's written in. And this came in a couple of months ago now. So apologies, Nicola, if that is your real name, for not getting back to you earlier. Hopefully none of this will have blown up in your face in the meantime. But Nicola says, my husband and I have bought a load of fancy goods over the last couple of years, but we've recently discovered we've been using the wrong credit card. So these have been paid by my corporate bank account rather than my own. Whoops. There's not that much stuff. A Niesman and Bischoff Schmove 7.4e camper van worth 124,000, a Jaguar I-Pace and Volkswagen Golf, 2 Braemont luxury watches, a Shetland jewellery pendant, £24,000 worth of Mont Blanc pens and cufflinks, boutique cosmetics worth over £1,000, a couple of coffee machines worth about £3,000 each, a robotic lawnmower for £3,000, which somehow was called legal fees on the invoice, a Hamilton and Inches silver wine coaster costing £3,500. Somehow that was mistakenly called leadership expenses. Salt and pepper grinders worth £2,500, home library fixtures and fittings, some Le Creuset casserole dishes, gaming consoles, including an Xbox One, a PlayStation 3 and a Nintendo Switch, and 4 Nintendo 3DS handhelds, and a Celestian computerized telescope, a GoPro camera, and a Dyson floor lamp, and a Dyson V8 cordless vacuum. Nicola then says, should I mention this to the accounts department, or should I stay stum and hope it all goes away?
I think what I'd be inclined to do would pretend you didn't know about it.
Yes, just feign ignorance. You never knew what was going on. Your husband was just doing this stuff, buying all this stuff without your knowledge, and you didn't notice, even though you were seen writing with a Mont Blanc pen, you didn't notice that that was a Mont Blanc pen that somebody had put in your hand.
You couldn't really make it up, could you? So I think the answer is, say you were too busy to notice, and your ex-husband, who you've kicked out the house, was doing it all behind your back. Plausible deniability.
Yes, that'll work.
Yes.
That's the perfect answer. Thanks, Ed. Hope all's gone well for you, Nicola, and I'm sure it'll all be kept quiet and nobody will find out about that.
I'm looking at the list that Nicola has sent in, Rich, and I'm thinking, why did she need an Xbox One when she was the leader of the Scottish National Party?
I don't think that's the same person, Ed.
If that was the case, why did a sort of middle-aged couple want an Xbox One and a PlayStation 3 and a Nintendo?
Yes.
I can understand the other things. Everybody needs a robotic lawnmower because then they can devote more of their time to politics and not be consumed with mowing the lawn.
And helping their constituents.
Exactly. And I imagine that the A. Niesman and Bischoff Schmove 7.4e camper van valued at £124,550 was probably needed to ferry elderly constituents to the polling station.
Well, I hope that sorted that one out for you, Nicola, if indeed that is your real name. It's time for the welcome return of Ask Rich and Ed.
Drum roll.
We haven't done one of these for ages, so there's a huge bulging postbag. This is question A. This is from Mo Bagger in Tehran. How do I negotiate with Trump? I'd ideally like him to stop bombing my country. Then we can both come to an arrangement about letting a few ships through the Straits of Hormuz without the need for blockades and protection. Unfortunately, I think someone else might be pulling the Donald's strings. What should I do? We've already talked about negotiating with the Donald, haven't we, on tariffs?
Yeah, we have.
But what about when it comes to war, which is, of course, good for nothing?
I was going to say that resistance is futile, to quote Star Trek, but I'm not so sure. I think the best thing that you can do is create global turmoil, and then Donald might not attack you. The way to respond to somebody who's bullying you is to respond with lots of action and create more turmoil to make the bully think again.
And I think that's certainly what's been happening. It's been interesting to see. I think they've been, in some ways, ducking and diving and running rings, haven't they, around the Donald? But they're getting there now. Hopefully by the time this episode's gone out, it'll all be sorted and settled.
Well, I hope so for the people in the Middle East, and we know some people who live in Dubai and stuff, and I think it must be quite frightening. It's an interesting one, isn't it? President Xi in China, I think one of his key people, when questioned about the tariffs when they first went on, responded by something along the lines of, "We've been here for thousands of years. We're not going to worry because we'll still be here." I think when the tariffs were muted and put on China at 50%, 100%, 200%, I think the Chinese opinion was, we've been a civilization for thousands of years. We've had ups and downs. We'll live with it. And I can't agree with the Iranian totalitarian regime, but I think that they will think the same, won't they? There's a country of 100 million. Nobody's going to invade them. You can put sanctions on them, but they've been living with it since the 70s. We'll just roll with it. And if the people suffer, they don't really care, do they? So I think the only answer really is probably the answer that we're seeing. And I think if you're in a negotiation and a supplier was trying to bully you, I think you've got to play that card by return. I think you've got to go hard back at them. You can't just, roll over and let them steamroller you into a deal or whatever. And that seems to be what's happening.
Yeah, taking it back to the procurement line, yep. So fight fire with fire. But that's not suggesting, from a procurement perspective, shooting your supplier or bombing them, indeed.
You think?
Don't do that in a procurement negotiation, please.
What about, could you pay people to kill them?
No. What about if they have a little accident on their way to the negotiation?
It happens, doesn't it? It happens. They have a small car crash on the freeway.
Or someone inadvertently bombs the negotiation site.
We talk a bit about negotiation, don't we? And I think that there's really interesting responses around the world, including from Tehran, Iran and all that, but also from Chinese and other nations about the way that they respond. And I think that Trump's I know he's heralded as a great negotiator, but it's a little bit of he's a one-trick pony, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's got immense power, hasn't he, which he throws around. So there you go, Mo. Hope it all works all out for you.
Yes. Yeah. So next question, Rich, is from Lucy Candler in Atlanta, USA. She works for a large beverage company and is tasked in the procurement function with gathering and securing reductions in carbon footprint data from a vast array of suppliers across the world. The problem is she's aware that the company is committed to single-use plastic bottles and produces around 130 million plastic bottles per month, most of which inevitably end up in the landfill, the ocean, your backyard. I feel a little hypocritical, she says, asking suppliers to reduce their carbon footprint whilst my company does irrevocable, that's her words, damage to the environment. What should I do?
Oof. Big ethical dilemma there. Goodness me. It's a bit like your NHS thing earlier, isn't it? Don't worry about your carbon, treat your patients. Yeah, well, I think it's quite difficult for you. It's like when we talked about this with defence as well. I remember a question we had about defence, somebody saying they wanted to do something ethical in defence sourcing. And we thought, maybe you shouldn't be working in defence sourcing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got to call it out, Lucy, as they say. Because I think if those big manufacturers of plastic bottles and the plastic use around the world could be stopped, that would make such a massive difference to the environment, because the amount of plastic in the oceans, microplastics in our bloodstreams and our food supplies is immense. And I was on Halls earlier this year, in Malaysia, and there was just plastic bottles in the sea being washed up on the beach, like hundreds and hundreds of them. So yeah, I would call it out. I would see if you can get your business to start to move away from single-use plastic bottles, move into aluminium cans, although they've got their own problems, or glass bottles. I don't know how it used to be done. It is extremely hypocritical in my view.
I think you've got to think strategically, haven't you? I think one is you need to talk to the people at the top, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make a difference, really, are you? Unless, if you want to change things, you can clearly collect the data from suppliers. That's straightforward. There's loads of ways of doing that in answer to the original question. But I think that maybe you need to be pushing back upwards about what are the alternatives. So are the plastic bottles that dissolve, for example, after X number of years that could be developed, glass, to your point, Rich, I think, or deposit for return of bottles. That's how it used to work, didn't it? So maybe there's something similar there. Maybe you need an incentive, don't you?
A localized ecosystem of bottle return. That's what we need. We need to move away from these big global organizations and move back into living in little villages.
Yeah, I think so.
And bartering. In 1957.
I don't think fundamentally you should say, well, because we do something bad, we shouldn't be asking the suppliers about carbon emissions. I think you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? So wouldn't you just collect the carbon emissions data on your suppliers, but maybe you need some sort of program to work with suppliers to see if there's alternative ways of making the product, and in particular distributing the product. So yeah, big question, really, isn't it? Big question.
Yes. There you go. Right. Well, that's it for this time.
So anyway, listeners, when we speak to you next time, our companion app will be out.
Oh, so it might not even be us on the podcast. It might be EdBot and RichBot, which we did promise months ago that we would try and do that.
Yeah.
Now we have the technology and the capability and the wherewithal to do it.
It's exciting.
So thank you all for listening. We'll see you all again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What Rich didn't tell you is that when he was swimming in the sea in Malaysia, used nappy passed him in the sea, and he frantically rushed out of the sea and didn't go in there again.
Exactly. And that's, for our American listeners, that's diapers.
Diaper. A nice diaper in the sea.
Mm.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.